What's going on, YouTube? Good morning. Once again, I'm Eli Jennings. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. The book we're going to talk about today is called Man's Search for Meaning. It's by Victor Frankel, and I'm sure you've heard of it. It is fucking incredible. I mean, just an absolutely wonderful book. But at any rate, just to give you a little bit of a backstory. So, Victor Frankel was born in 1905 at the turn of the 20th century, you feel me? And he was a very, very successful psychiatrist prior to World War II. He had a whole life that he developed. In the 30s, after he got his doctorate, he opened his own private practice briefly. Was very successful. And as the war continued to break out and as things got worse and worse in his area, he actually transferred to the last hospital, I believe it's called the Rothschild Hospital, the last hospital in Vienna that would still accept Jews. And so within his own right, he's an incredible man. He's a community leader before World War II. And so what happens then, obviously things continue to get worse. And about, I believe this was 1942, he gets married. He got married a little late in life, okay? And so 9 months later, he and his entire family enter into concentration camps. Frankel spent 4 years in concentration camps, 4 years in 3 different ones. His mother and his brother died pretty early on. His wife lived for several years and then died of typhus about a year before she would have been freed. And so if anyone ever had a reason to be mad at life, to be mad at God, to turn his back and to just, kind of go in the other direction, it was Frankel. But that's not how he played it. So the first half of this book, and again, it's a short book, the first half of it tells the story of the concentration camp, kind of the story of his life and how he came to be where he is now. And the second half of the book is when he gets into, the psychology of it. Man's search for meaning, how do we create meaning and how can we create meaning given the inevitable hardships and suffering of life. And so, as far as historical examples of people we could look to, it's hard to think of someone better than Frankel, a man who was publicly selfless and involved and very important before the war. He lived through years of concentration camps and then came out, wrote this book along with about 28 other ones, and continued to give back. And so what I want to talk about now is the second half of the book. And within this half of the book, he goes into logotherapy. Now, he actually invented logotherapy. And the biggest difference between that and other types of therapy, well, he was the one who sort of brought it to the mainstream. And a lot of the therapeutic techniques we have today, cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR, a number of other different things, they all kind of got their root from logotherapy. And so I really want to keep it simple with this book. There's only 2 quotes that I want to touch on because, as you can see in the book, he's very succinct. He keeps it simple. And so people like you and I can read it and can get it. So if you'll bear with me here, this is actually one of my oldest notebooks. The cover is long fallen off, but it still has all the goodness inside. Shoot, I may even have to pause this. And oh no, here we are. All right. So the first quote I want to touch on, and again, it's only 2. They're both very short, and I believe he drops both of these about 3 pages from each other. All right. So the first one is self-actualization is possible only as a side effect of self-transcendence. So what does that mean? Well, self-actualization is the process of integrating, understanding, and becoming who you truly are. There's a lot of ways people go about living. You know, there's a lot of modes of being in the world. But in order to achieve self-actualization, in order to be a dynamic, integrated adult and someone who can go out into the world and really contend with it, self-actualization is absolutely necessary. So let's talk about self-transcendence then. Because if self-transcendence is what has to happen, and self-actualization is the reward, then really, I mean, what else should we be focused on right now? Like, transcendence, you know? So when you transcend something, you take how you feel, you take what you know, you take what you want to do, and you kind of put all that in the back seat. You feel me? You kind of separate it out. And so, I mean, there's tons of really applicable examples to this, you know? If what you want to do doesn't line up with, say, with what your partner wants to do or what your friend wants to do, can you transcend what you want in that moment in order to see the whole picture? And, you know, this quote's very short. It's a sentence, but truly, truly incorporating it and understanding that in order to become the version of yourself that you need to be, that your family needs you to be, that the world and the community at large needs, you have to be able to transcend yourself, to be more than the things you think you want in order to self-actualize, in order to be real. Because we can all have these ideas of ourselves, but it doesn't mean anything if we don't then go out into the world, you know? It doesn't matter who you are if you don't have a context to be that person within. And the start, the very, very start on this journey is learning to transcend your ego, your emotions, and moving through it, all right? So the second quote, and this I think sums it up perfectly. I think Frankel was one of the first on this, but there's been many books written since, and yeah, it comes down to this, all right? Happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. Well, damn. Not only does he say, if you pursue happiness, you know, good luck, fat chance, it probably won't work out. He's saying it is impossible. You can't catch it. It's like, you know, fucking stapling water to a tree. Like, it's not gonna happen for you. But it can ensue. So what does that mean then? If you can't pursue it, if you can't catch it, if you can't obtain it, how does it come to you? Because surely there have been moments in your life where you experience something so transcendent, so divine, you know, those emotions, those experiences that stay with us forever. You can't put words to it. And so to say that happiness doesn't exist is a fallacy and obviously not true, but he makes the claim you can't pursue it. You know, the pursuit of pleasure will leave you and everyone around you miserable. That's inevitable. However, if you want happiness, it will catch up to you. It will ensue. How? By doing the hard things today. By making sacrifices, the petty little unsexy sacrifices we make every day. That's how happiness pops up. Because regardless of who you are, if you think meaning is to be found in, you know, consumer society, or in avoiding hardships, or in being as high as you want to be, you know, whatever it might be, shit's played out. It's not gonna work. However, that does not mean it's hopeless. And as Frankel really, really points out and exemplifies for us, it is possible to go through tremendous amounts of difficulty, to see horrible things, to lose everything, you know, after he did everything right up until then. I mean, it's really, really incredible. It's a very moving book. The first half is hard to get through in some ways, but I think it's important that we read and understand what exactly concentration camps and the Holocaust and all that was like for the people inside. Because, once again, without understanding history, we're doomed to repeat it. And we are so fortunate to have people like Frankel who went through something, made himself into something more, and then did not allow it to turn him into somebody who was resentful. He took what he went through and he made it into something to continue to help other people. And really, I think that's all it is at the end of the day. We can pursue pleasure, we can pursue status, we can, you know, try to get laid by as many people as you want to, or get 1 million people, you know, following you on Instagram, like whatever it might be, you can do that and no one is going to stop you, but it will not make you happy. Trust me. This is how you get there, right here. And yeah, so again, I cannot recommend reading this book enough. I think it's really, really, really an important place to start for a lot of the other things that I want to talk about on this channel. And yeah, it's perspective. And so I hope this gives you some perspective today. Once again, I'm Eli Jennings, at Eli Jennings 17 everywhere. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.